Hi, my name is Heather, and today I'm going to talk to you about clipping and the safeties of it and how to do it. So at William Woods, we use number 10 blades and number 40 blades. Before clipping, you should make sure that your horse is comfortable with the situation and is prepared for what you're about to do. So if a horse has not been clipped before, or I haven't worked with this horse, I would go a lot slower. So I would first introduce them to the clippers without the blades running. I would then put the blades in my hand and let the clippers vibrate through my hand onto the horse, and then begin the clipping process if they're comfortable. I would probably have a handler also just begin. If the horse then becomes comfortable with clipping, then I would move them to cross size. I would make sure that they're in a well-lit area so I can see what I'm doing. I would make sure that they're in an area that is away from traffic so that they're not being asked to move all over the aisle to have people walk through, so that I can keep the energy of the situation down and the horse doesn't get amped up worrying about what other things are going on. And I would make sure that my extension cord is long enough, and I would not be dragging the extension cord around the horse to clip. I would be moving the extension cord from one side of the aisle to the other, or one side of the grooming stall to the other. And prior to clipping, I would make sure that my blades are ready to go by applying 3 drops of oil on the right edge of the blade, the middle, and the left edge of the blade. So this would allow the blades to run smoother and keep from the dirt getting into the motor and also dulling out the blades. And so then I would have a brush on hand and be ready to brush off the excess dirt that the horse, dirt and hair that falls off the horse when I start clipping them. And I would also have a rag, so if there's a lot of extra oil on the blade, I would make sure to wipe that off, because you don't want too much on there, because that'll prevent you from being able to clip the horse. So it's important to know the industry standards of your discipline. At William Woods, we do not typically use the number 40 blades. That is really only used on the bridle path. So I'm going to talk about the muzzle and the eyes and the bridle path to start off. So with dressage horses, we typically do not cut the whiskers off around their muzzle completely down to the skin. We only blunt them just to make them even under their muzzle. And then the eye feelers are never cut off. And the bridle path is about 1.5 inches, and it's exactly the width of the crown piece of a bridle. It's not long, and it does not go ahead of the ears. And so then the thing about the guard hairs is that they are cut off, but they're not clean shaved. They're just blended by inverting the clippers and just smoothing them out. It's not a clean cut. And that's just to keep the horse looking a little bit cleaner than, especially in winter when they're growing really long hairs underneath there. Just gives them a little bit cleaner of a look. Moving on to the ears. This can be something that horses really do not like having done, so be aware of how they like to be clipped. So with dressage horses, we pinch their ears shut, not tight, and just blunt the edge. It just goes to the edge of the ears, and that is just to clean up the long hairs that stick out of their ears and just clean them up a little bit. Some horses, like I said, really don't like this, so you may need to have a handler with a twitch of some sort. You might need a lip twine or a shank or something like that that can be utilized to help the horse stand. And if they still are really not having it, you might be able to just take some surgical shears and just clean up on that edge just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then moving on to the legs, we do not clip horses that have very long feathers like Friesians. We leave them long. And for horses that do get clipped, we, above the knee and where those stray hairs kind of stick out, we invert the clippers and run down and just kind of blend the hairs nicely with the rest of the leg, just to clean them up. And then on the pastern and the fetlock and the coronary band area, we smooth the clippers downward, and that's how we clip the hair off. We don't clip completely clean. We just try and smooth it out and make it look a lot nicer that way. And finally, when it comes to body clipping, it is extremely important that you have your horse washed before you clip them, because it's going to be very difficult if they're all full of mud and have a bunch of dirt down to their skin. That also applies for the other clipping, but it's not as crucial. So a lot of people like to clip full body clip horses with body clippers, and they're a lot bigger and a lot louder. So a lot of horses may not like them at first. You might need to explain it. It's a very loud noise, and so you might have to show them and move slowly with them, just like you would if it was a different horse with the smaller clippers. And some people like to have more than one pair of clippers on hand when you're body clipping, because the motors will get hot and so will the blades, and so you want to be able to just switch it out and go on to the next one. And you also, some people like to have chalk on hand, and you can trace the clip that you're going to do. So if you're going to do a body clip, full body clip, you don't need to, but if you're going to do a trace clip or a blanket clip or an Irish clip or something like that where you really want to have your lines precise, then you may want to have chalk at hand so that you make sure that your lines are even. And then with the body clipping, you go against the hair. So if the hair were like this, you clip this way, not this way. And the horses actually have a lot of swirls and changes in the direction of their hair. So you'll see once you start clipping that you might be able to go like this for a while, and then you're gonna get to this spot, and then you're like, oh, I need to change it and go this way. And that's how you get a really clean cut, and that's how you keep from getting the lines of the clipper blades. And if you would like, and you don't want to use the big loud clippers, you can also use the small clippers and just put a wide set of the 10 blades on there. You do not use the 40s. So that is usually how people clip with body clippers. You do not use body clippers on the areas like the flank or the ears. On those more fine areas, you do not use the body clippers. And again, it's nice to have two people, just so you can either have a handler or to help with the clipping. But when you're done clipping, you need to be sure that you're cleaning your blades effectively with blade wash, running them through that blade wash, letting all the gunk get out of there to keep the longevity of your clipper blades. Otherwise, you're just going to be dulling them out really fast and getting them rusty, and you want to make sure that they're super clean. And then before you put them away, you also want to oil them. So you put oil, like I said earlier, the three spots, and then you actually don't wipe them up with the towel at that time. You want to let the oil sit in there and just let them keep the blades nice and smooth and ready to use for the next time. Thank you.